In this part, I'll be talking about how to UV unwrap. So as you can see here, I've got a table here which is ready to be UV unwrapped. Now, there are a number of tools you can use when UV unwrapping. First off, make sure you are on the Polygons tab. Go to Create UVs. I'll just unsnap that. Now, the one thing you should definitely avoid is automatic mapping. If I quickly do it, oops, let's just, there we go. You can see here that it's given me some pretty terrible results, nothing that I can really use. So always avoid using that. In the past, when I was a student, I was using this a lot, but it's definitely something you should actively avoid at all costs. It does not give you the best results. The two that you should be mainly using is planar and cylindrical mapping. Now, if you go on the box here, you get the planar mapping options, and essentially planar mapping creates a UV shell based on the axes, so the XYZ axes. So I'll quickly create a few right now. So if I just click on these particular faces here, and actually do the bottom ones as well. Now, to know which axes you need to project on, the best thing to do is look at the little view cube here. As you can see, it has the X, Y, and Z axes. As you can see, the ones we have chosen are in the Y axes. So you go to Y, apply, and you'll see here it's created a UV shell in the Y axis, so looking down. Now I'll just quickly do this for a few of the other ones. So for the sides here, I'd want to go for a cylindrical mapping. Let's have a look at the results. Sometimes it can vary depending on how, there it is. I couldn't see it properly, but yeah, as you can see, it's created a cylindrical mapping around it. You should be careful when using the cylindrical mapping, because depending on the angle of view of the model, it can create sort of very odd shapes. You may need to rotate the model sometimes to get the best possible result. As you can see here, we've got a pretty good result. I'm not going to scale these just yet. I'm just going to quickly create some of these. Again, cylindrical mapping. Let me see. Got a good result there. And probably the same. This is pretty much a very basic mesh, so it's not going to be too difficult to UV unwrap this. Just down to here. And again, I'll want to go for the cylindrical mapping. Oh, what happened there? Ah, there we go. Cylindrical mapping. It's given us a pretty good result there. Again, we may need to edit into these later on. But for the rest here, we may as well go for a planar again on the y-axis. See, we've got some good results here. Just move that out of the way. And for the sides here, again, go with the cylindrical. Yeah, got pretty good results there. I think that's everything. Okay, we can see it all here. Alright. If you do have dual monitors, that's a massive plus, as you're able to have sort of the UV texture editor in the side here. At the moment, I'm sort of having to work on one screen just to show you guys this. But yeah, as you can see, this is all fully UV unwrapped now. So let's look at the tools that you got at your disposal in the editor. So obviously here, this particular tool is the move tool. So you click on the shell and you'll be able to move it around. This particular tool here is the smooth tool. So as you can see, you can sort of unfold the shell or relax it. As you can see, results may vary. So it's not something you would always want to use. On sort of more complex ones, you can kind of probably want to go for it. With this one here, the UV lattice tool, you can select various different components such as the edges or the UVs. Always go for the UVs. If you want to, you can use the edge to sort of sew UVs, although for this particular mesh, I don't think we'll really need it. But so more basic shapes, or like say a circle or a cube, can be very much easily. You can just sew UVs together. Here, I don't think I really need to do that. Um, but if you go into UVs, select a few UVs, you can actually smooth, unfold, relax those specific areas. So that might be good for if you're doing sort of more complex meshes where the results of say your cylindrical mapping has sort of created a very weird looking shape. You can just select a few of the UVs, relax them or unfold them to get a much more better layout. Now also, as you can see here, these are your rotation tools. I say use this rather than trying to like use the actual rotation tool with the E button. It's better off using this. It always goes at a 45-degree angle. Obviously, you got like clockwise and counterclockwise. Also here, this turns on the UV shell, the shading. Now, as you can see, it's blue. That means just one shell. But if you overlay it, you see it gets darker. If it's darker, that obviously means there are two UVs overlaying each other. Now, you should really avoid having any sort of overlaying UVs. One specific reason that I've looked into is because of light mapping. So if you're using UDK and want sort of light maps on it, it can cause some issues with it. So it's up to you whether or not you want to make them overlaying or not. I would say avoid it at all costs, just because you may want to add specific sort of details in the normal maps or light mapping or the AR, occlusion that is. So you might want to just try to just keep them separately as possible. One thing you should also look out for is flipped UVs. So as you can see here, I've intentionally flipped this, and for some reason it hasn't. Okay, there's a bit of an error there for some reason, excuse me. Okay, this is a good example here. If they're flipped, they usually should be red. For some reason it's not red here. I think I've encountered an error for some reason. But if they're red, that can cause issues. Say for example, if you're trying to have sort of tileable sort of walls, the textures are going to be on the other side. And also if you're trying to sew UVs, they'll sometimes become inside. They'll sew inside the actual shell. You may have encountered that in the past where you've sort of thought, oh, why is it going inside? It's because they're flipped. So always have the UV shaders on, and then if there's any shells that are seen to be red, flip them using these two tools here. For some reason, I have encountered an error where it's not showing it specifically, so I'm going to have to select all the UVs and flip them automatically like that. Yeah, that's fixed it.